to Cook with PC. My name is Melanie. I'm an exercise physiologist here at Positive Choice and also an enthusiastic home cook. And this is my partner in crime today.
I'm Katherine. I am also here at PC. I'm a registered dietitian and an exercise physiologist as well, and another enthusiastic home cook. And I'm going to be cooking a vegan tuna salad or Vuna salad for you today. That's my creativity for the day. So
I love it.
If you were wondering about that.
Yeah.
So what should I do? You want me to just go ahead and get started? So,
wherever you want to start.
all right.
We should probably start with sanitary things.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. Soap is down here. I'm just going to go ahead and get some of that.
We have to practice good hygiene because good hygiene means no one's going to get COVID.
Yeah. COVID is still out there, people. So here we go. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi. Yes, I'm really doing this, guys. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Just enough time for me to perform tech support.
Awesome. So now I've got nice and clean. I've already washed the vegetables over here. I soaked them just to kind of get all the detritus off from the grocery store. I got them earlier today. So that's one thing that's very important is to wash your vegetables prior to actually using them. So to start out with, I'm going to get our can opener because we're going to start with our chickpeas really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and get the one that I brought from home.
Our can openers. Wonderful.
Okay. I can hear that in your voice.
It's one of those ones that you have to do sideways, and I don't like it. It's very, very complicated.
Yeah, well, this one's from home, so I promised my mother-in-law I'd bring it back to her. So first things first, and whenever you're using something from a can, you always want to rinse the top off, just to be safe. And canned goods are perfectly fine to use. What I usually do is after I'm peeling them open, I stop. So I still have the top on, but it's mostly open. I'm going to drain it.
Easiest way. Saves a dish.
Yeah, saves a dish, definitely. Saving a dish, saving water. I'm going to gently open themselves. Just once, just so we can get a little bit more of the salt off.
Were you washing anything else off when you rinse them?
Not right this second.
No. Well, in the juice, there's something in the juice, right?
Yeah, there's definitely preservatives and salt as well. So I'm just kind of getting some of that stuff off as well.
Another thing in chickpea juice that you can do is if you take it and separate it out and save it, you can actually whip it with a hand mixer, and it'll turn into aquafaba.
Oh,
which is like a mousse.
I legitimately did not know that. So
I did a cooking class with it. So that's how I know.
Thank you for educating me. So I am someone who I just like to kind of throw things together. I'm just gonna dump it right in there. Put the top down so it's safe, and then we can put it off to the side, and that's our chickpeas. So our next thing is going to be the artichoke hearts. Go ahead and do that. These are marinated. Speak up a little more. These are marinated. I always like to use the marinade just because they add more flavor. I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball this. You can use a measurement if you want.
Get you a fork.
Okay.
We do have forks. They hide.
Okay. Oh, I brought one and didn't bring it.
That's okay. Josette says hello. Hi, Josette.
I just said,
And Annalise and Roxana have joined.
yay. So I'm putting these out on the cutting board. I'm going to chop them up just so that you don't have these big chunks. You can just throw them in there as well if you want. Normally that's something I do, but I'm making it for you guys, so I just want to make sure everything looks all pretty. So we put that off to the side. And then you always want to kind of curl your fingers away. going back and forth here. And I'm just kind of dicing everything. I'm going to cut it from different angles. I'm a little bit rough in the kitchen.
The rough chop, I like it.
Rough chop, yeah. And when you're satisfied, if you want it to be like snow, you can keep going. I just want it to be in little chunks. So from here, I'm going to pick up the whole thing, and then, oh, thank you. And then I'm just going to scrape it off. Usually when I'm doing this, I'm working around like 4 other people, so this is nice. So next thing is the celery. This is more for flavor. I'm going to chop off the ends, and then I'm just going to really finely chop it. I can't do that thing where I'm staring at you and chopping vegetables. So I apologize if I'm not looking at you right now. I mean, I can do it briefly, but
We like you with all your fingers.
Yeah.
yeah, I like having all my fingers as well. So, but this just adds a little bit of that singular flavor. Also, it's kind of a nice extra little crunch. Honestly, you can add as much of this as you want. Remember, it's your dish, so I highly encourage you to play around with this. I'm just going to add this to it as well. Just going to scrape it off in there. This is
Beautiful.
definitely wood. Okay. So we're going to just
Get
put
a lot
these
of
off to the
different textures in there. I like it.
Yeah, no, we definitely, I usually just kind of throw it in there and do it kind of Mediterranean style, but we're also going to mash it up as well. So next up we have the onion. Now onion is kind of wonderful because it adds a lot of nice spicy flavor, but at the same time it's very, it has a lot of fiber in it as well. So our theme today is fiber with this. So I just want to double check. Did I do half?
This is quarter. I'm assuming quarter cup.
Quarter cup, okay. We'll do a quarter.
That's about right.
Yeah, so sometimes if you just do it half and then a quarter, that'll be good. There you go.
I'm an onion fiend. I'm making like 6 a week. And that's just the yellow onions. That doesn't count the red onions and the white onions that I cook as well.
That's a lot. I mean, I always find that they flavor food just so very well, so naturally. And it's one of the best things is when you can flavor food without having to add a lot of highly processed stuff. And that's one of the main goals here with a lot of our classes is we want to empower you to be able to use food effectively like that. So this is going to have about, we're doing about a quarter of one of these. So there's going to be about 2 or 3 grams of fiber in here. There's going to be about, I want to say like at least 10 to 12 grams of fiber in all of the chickpeas that we just put in there. So the theme, like I said, is going to be fiber.
It's the total fiber, not the serving fiber.
Yeah.
The recipe I posted is per serving.
Yes. So this is I'm speaking in generalities, so for the whole thing. So don't get freaked out. We gave you the right macros, I promise. So I mean,
I have a lot of fiber.
if you're looking for a lot of fiber, you could do this and have just like a serving of one. You're more than welcome to do that. So I would just say, be careful. Drink lots of water. So who's let's see. Is there anybody on tonight? So hey.
There's a lot of people on, but no one's really talking.
Yeah.
Is anyone wondering what we're doing?
Send us some love. Okay, so I got a cucumber here now. I'm going to just chop this in half. Now, again, when I'm doing this at home, I like to just use as much of everything as possible just because my husband at home, he likes the big portions and my dad as well. So, I love you, dear. But I'm using these what we gave you. You're more than welcome to do whatever you feel like. Do whatever you want. This is your dish. So I'm gonna quarter this just because I like the smaller kind of quarter sized cucumbers, you're more than welcome to do those huge chunks as well. You can do whatever you want. So
I mean, everything that's in this dish I could just eat by itself anyways.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm all about that.
yeah.
This is all good for me.
Yeah, cucumbers are also, like, speaking of hydration, I know it's super hot outside, and these are a wonderful thing to kind of add to any salad, any kind of a cold veggie dish that you're using, because it adds that crunch, it adds that singular flavor that's just really refreshing. You can do spa water, and we're not going to chop these up too much more. Ooh,
Flinging cucumbers.
I'm flinging cucumbers today.
Donna B says, this is a great thing for you to do. Thanks.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
And Cheryl Such has joined as well.
Cheryl.
Hello,
Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl.
Hi.
Okay. All right, so now we have a tomato. You can use diced tomatoes as well from a can. Again, it's completely up to you. We're just using a few whole ingredients here because I just like to chop things. It's therapeutic for me for some reason, but if you don't like to chop things, that's okay too.
And one thing I've noticed that you're doing that you haven't mentioned, but I want to point it out, is if you haven't seen, when she's getting our round stuff just like last week, she's cutting off the bottom and the top to make it flat so it's easier to chop. Because if you don't do that, you might end up cutting off your finger, and that's not a wise idea. So making sure things are flat before you start chopping.
Yeah, no, thank you for mentioning that. That's kind of just something I've learned just watching other people cook in my house. So yeah,
It's like we learn from the best, right?
Yeah.
You never said the best at what though?
That's true. I mean, I mean, you pick up skills here and there. I'm just kind of dicing these now, but you pick up skills here and there. I remember working in a kitchen, and like I had picked up some bad skills, and I remember it was one person came, Katherine, stop. Let me show you, and that was how I learned how to chop properly. So ever since then, I always like slice the top off first. We make sure everything's nice and safe and flat. And here I'm just gonna scrape it in.
Clifford wants to know, Katherine and Melanie, how do you keep your knives sharp?
That's a really good question.
That's a very good question. Well, my mom, and she's probably gonna watch this later and like, comment on it, but she bought me this knife online that's called Beware of the Sharp Knife. And it's a very, very sharp knife. And it has stayed sharp now for about a year, but I do just get one of those like sharpening rods and I'll sharpen it on my own. But honestly, they're good in a pinch to get something sharp before a meal, but it dulls out right after that meal. So it is also best maybe to get them professionally sharpened. As far as where to do that, I'm cheap and have never done it. So I know there's a way to do it, I just haven't personally done it. Although I will say too, growing up, my dad owned a little knife sharpening block with electric ones that would sharpen knives, and so once, I want to say every couple of months, he would go in and sharpen every knife in our drawer every other month or so to make sure they were extra sharp for what we were cooking with, so we wouldn't have these dull knives, because dull knives are actually more dangerous than a sharp knife.
And case in point, I was raised with dull knives, so you can imagine again why I tried to develop better chopping skills.
Mm-hmm.
So now come the olives. You can use olive oil. I wanted to bring these to your attention again. Another addition of fiber because we're using more of a whole food, and it's a canned product. So the first thing I'm going to do is rinse it off, and then this.
Don't
has
think
a
about what
little
lands
hold.
on the can.
I'm sorry?
You still think about what lands on the can.
That's true, because these sit in warehouses between the time that they're canned and they're shipped and they arrive at the store. And you would love to believe that, everybody keeps everything super safe. And most facilities do, but every once in a while things happen. I have to focus on this.
Yes. And one thing also, because to point out why she rinsed it too, if she was cooking those black olives, it probably wouldn't matter as much because it's going to hit the heat and that's going to kill off whatever might potentially gotten in. But since this is a cold dish, be sanitary.
Be as sanitary
Be wary.
as possible.
Yes.
So I'm rinsing these off, similar to what we did with the chickpeas.
I see Roxana said hi. Hi, Roxana.
Hi, Roxana. Okay, and then we're just gonna.
They're pre-sliced.
Pre-sliced.
What an easy day.
Yep. Not all processed food is bad. This this is a process. There you go. So that's going to go in our little chop pile. Let's see what else. What are we going to do? So we've added pretty much everything else. I'm just going to go ahead and do everybody's favorite fat, our avocado. Now, this is about 400 calories right here, so I just want you to kind of realize that we're going to use half of this. Now, again, if you want to use the whole thing, you're more than welcome to, but just keep that in mind, especially if you're using a lot of other things like olive oil, avocado, or if you're using different types of oils. If you're maybe putting nuts in here, especially, fat does add up. They're healthy fats, so they're going to be good for you. But for one thing, you don't want to overload your digestive system. And for another thing, remember from Healthy Balance, fat is about 9 calories per. No, it's not about. It's 9 calories per gram. So just so you know.
Yeah, it adds up very quickly. Like the perspective I love to give is if you had a half a cup of rice, that's about 100 calories. And then if you have a half of a medium avocado, that's 120 calories. And then if you do a tablespoon of oil, that's 120 calories.
Yeah.
If you do a quarter cup of nuts, that's 120 calories-ish. So it starts to add up pretty quickly for a very small quantity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely something you want to be mindful of. It's still very good for you. We still want you to have it, but we also want you to be aware. And it's just kind of be aware of what you're doing. So what I did was I kind of sliced it up on the inside of the husk. I was very careful so I didn't puncture all the way through. And then I'm just going to take my fork and kind of shoosh it out.
I like that.
Shoosh it out.
Shoosh it out. Better be shooshing it out at home.
Shoosh, yes. Shooshing is very important.
And what I also love about this dish is the fact that it landed on one of our hotter days this week. So it's just kind of perfect for the weather right now.
Yeah, no,
I'm all about this.
I was pretty cognizant about that one. When I was thinking, what should I do? Well, it's getting hot outside. Vuna salad. Okay, so here we have our lemon. So we just put the avocado in. This is the next thing that's going to go in, because anytime you have an avocado or an apple or something that's going to brown really fast, you want to, I'm going to use this one, you want to put something citrusy on it so that it will kind of neutralize the browning process. So
if you watched last week, I used a knife, and she's doing something slightly different, but pretty much I know the technique you're about to do is a stabby
I'm gonna
technique.
stab, and squeeze.
So question.
What's that?
Bang wants to know, option 2 said put everything in the food processor. Would the tomatoes and cucumber give too much liquid?
That's possible. That's very possible. So if you're going to put it in the food processor, you might want to think about, like, if you want it to be a little bit more runny or if you want it to be a little bit more thick. So if you want it to be more thick, what you're going to want to do is have more of the chickpeas. So for example, you could pair it with kidney beans or mung beans, or a little bit of a drier food product. Or you could make it very basic with just the chickpeas and the avocado and maybe the olives and a couple other things. But again, this is your dish. I highly encourage you to play around with it, because that's how we develop kitchen skills. Like, believe me, the first time I was messing around in the kitchen, I blew up something in the microwave. So
I blew something up in the oven. I made calzones for the first time. I was 12 and I cried.
That is awesome.
They exploded because I didn't use yeast, I used baking soda, and apparently I used a lot of baking soda.
That is awesome.
What a pair you two make.
Oh yes. We all come from humble beginnings.
We do. But that's ultimately the point. So a seed fell in here. I'm just trying to get it out. Ultimately, you just want to play around with it as much as possible. So I'm going to dry my hands really fast. Oh, thank you. Let's see. So we've added everything else.
Flavor time.
Now we get to do a little bit of the spicy mustard. And how much did I say? A tablespoon. Let me grab one of those.
You can also eyeball. last week with our measurements.
Yeah. Okay. You can tell I just got this from the store because it's still sealed. If it's not sealed, don't buy it.
Also true.
Okay.
The labels, or the seals are basically at this point knife stabbing seals. I do the same thing. I was thinking like, I will totally stab that with a knife.
I'm just, See?
We all do this. We're not
all do
lying.
this.
This is what we do at home. We're doing it here.
And people can tell the mood that I'm in by the level of stabbing that I do.
Take it out on the food, not other people.
Yes, definitely. You always take it out on the food. That's what it's there for.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. So we got a tablespoon in there. We're just kind of.
I'm a mustard person, so I'd absolutely be adding probably this and a whole grain mustard just for the seeds. But that's just me. I love mustard. And that's how you would tweak the recipe to make it for you.
Yeah, no, that's one of the best ways to kind of just to play around with the flavor, definitely. So here we go. We have everything in here. We can just add like a little bit of pepper if you want.
Were these salted chickpeas? Oh, they were. They're low sodium. Okay.
Low sodium chickpeas, yes.
There you go. It's an angry pepper grinder.
I'm not a professional.
We're just enthusiastic about our job.
From here, I'm going to mix this up first. So then you can just kind of go and mix it around. Remember, this is not supposed to be a labor-intensive dish at all. So
Great for the hot days.
great for the hot days, great for the days where you're just like, the last thing I want to do is be in the kitchen for any length of time.
So Roxana says she's using vegan mayo for the first time. Thought she'd try it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you could totally use vegan mayo for this as well.
It's a really, like, I make my own mayonnaise, and I'll tell you, the only difference between vegan mayo and regular mayonnaise is there's no egg. It's usually soy, and that's the only difference, and it tastes about the same in my opinion.
Yeah, no, there's so many new products out there, so trying things is how we figure out whether or not it's going to work or whether or not it's not going to work. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty moist one. Again, a lot of it is because we had some of the juices from here, we had some of the juices from here, as well as from the olives. I'm just mashing it up just a bit, just to kind of allowing the flavors to fully kind of meld, but then we will enjoy it. Is that look good?
That was pretty good to me.
Okay. So then when
Got
that
Allie
is-
watching.
Yay! Hi, Allie.
Okay. So I found these are whole wheat pita breads. They're about 160 calories per with 7 grams of protein. I found these at Sprouts. So let me hold them up really fast.
Delicious.
And what I was thinking is you can use a whole one, or we can do
Pita pockets.
pita pockets.
I love it.
So it's doing it in half, and then we can go ahead, open it up, and stay together. Okay, did you want this one or did you want
I want that one. Yeah, that's yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
She wants that one.
I do.
Okay,
That's
What's
pretty
the
darn
word?
tasty.
awesome.
I really, really like all the things in it though, so I can't really complain.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions?
Yes, that's the perfect time because we have about 5 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions about what we're doing, any tips or techniques or tricks that you want to know about, please ask.
I'm gonna have some too, because I worked on it.
It's well of your labor, right? You gotta
you gotta enjoy. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't like it, are you gonna really eat it? And that's okay. Dietitian says it's okay.
Says the dietitian, we're good now. So hopefully you have this nice tasty meal now that you guys can have for dinner. And wonderful leftovers. How long do the leftovers stay for, do you know?
5 to 7 days.
Okay. So about a week,
Yep. So
if it lasts that long.
because the citrus is going to help it stay fresh, essentially. But that being said, it's going to be better if you eat it sooner than later. So I definitely eat it.
What I also love about it too is the fact that you didn't have to add a lot of seasonings because all the ingredients on their own have so much flavor. Because it's a flavor party. This is going really well. So I'm doing quite well with this.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about doing any kind of a dish with this, and it doesn't have to be a Vuna salad. It can be a Greek salad. It can be, the black bean salad that we did last week. Basically, you just gotta play around with it. Just get in the kitchen and just play around with it. Make it your own, and what we're here to help you with that. So.
Yeah.
Have you ever put hot sauce in it?
I've put the pepper flakes in it before.
Ooh.
That sounds like it'd be really good.
I've put kind of like flavored olive oil. So hi Allie. I don't know if you said already.
Allison, hi. Allison's on.
Let's see what else. For Christmas I had actually gotten some flavored olive oils, so those were really fun to do. There was a roasted red pepper flavored one. There was a lemon flavored one. I've used them all up, but if you can find those are really good to use. Thank you, Mom. But yeah, so just try it, see what works for you.
What I would totally add, this is just me because I'm like this, horseradish mustard. I would totally, like, I'm Russian, so like I have to like it by default, but horseradish mustard is definitely where I would go with that. It's a genetic thing, we just have to like it, Yeah. So, but that would be something I would add is horseradish mustard, because like this is really good, but I just like, I want that kick, and that's a me thing, that's not an everyone else thing.
You can totally add a kick from there. So, you could add sriracha, you could add, I don't know if, let's see, the spicy mayo, if you're
Like a sriracha mayo almost?
Sriracha mayo, yeah. You can just make your own. You can also do Greek yogurt or Icelandic yogurt, the plain stuff as well.
Instead of the mayonnaise, yeah.
Yeah.
Adds the protein up a lot, because one thing about this dish is there's a lot of vegetables and a lot of plant-based stuff, which means the protein is there, but it's not going to be a lot. So if you swap it for the Greek yogurt, that would absolutely bump up that protein quite a bit. But yeah. Well, very much fun tonight.
Yes, you can add cumin. You
Yeah.
can add whatever you want.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I like scarfed mine because it's dinner time and that was delicious, and I would happily eat like 5 more. But what I will say is thank you all for watching. Thank you all for participating. Hopefully you have a nice yummy dish that'll beat the heat today. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you for having me.
She'll be back, of course. I'm doing my rounds, but she's definitely coming back.
Yes,
I want more. And aside from that, we'll be here next week with Carmel, and we'll post the recipe on Monday. So just keep an eye out, not the recipe fully, but the ingredients list on Monday. Just keep an eye out for that, and then we'll see you next Thursday.